Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night to you, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Wait, I got a notification here. Okay, fine, remove. I think Facebook made some recent changes, and yeah, so hello. So we are live on LinkedIn, Instagram, I think Instagram, I'm not sure. YouTube for sure. And not TikTok. TikTok too, I think. Don't quote me, you guys. Something, one of those two. I think is LinkedIn and YouTube. But hello, you are in the right place at the right time with the right people doing the right thing. Welcome to your weekly post check. Post check with Dr. Dale, and this is a weekly conversation where I come in here and pretty much talk about all things you and how we can not only survive, but how we can thrive in all things workplace, all things home, all things life, right? For those that don't know, I am Dr. Dale Laing-Hall, a over 15 years of human resources executive experience, from starting out as an HR coordinator to, answering the phones to working side by side with board members, right? And, recently started my emotional intelligence leadership coaching program, now going on 2 years, and it has been a roller coaster for sure, the entrepreneur world. So that and all that I did my research, all that I did, did my research on my whole concept was on emotional intelligence and how it has saved my life. It can save your life, and all the conversation around that, and just putting that all together with human resources. And you guys know human resources, dealing with all types of people, different backgrounds, training, coaching, development, policies, and all of those great things, right? So with that being said, we're going to jump right in because we got a lot to cover. This series that we're talking about, let me add it here. The series that we're talking about is the 12 workplace challenges that is really, holding you back. That maybe held you back in the past, and maybe it came back to the present and kind of crept back in without you even realizing it or noticing it, right? And how you can rise above it, right? Rise to the next level, right? Whatever that looks like. So last week, just to do a very quick synopsis, last week we covered communication and how that may be holding you back, not speaking up, not speaking when you're supposed to. We covered some facts around that. We talked about conflict management, and we talked about the 5 conflict management styles. We talked about and we had quotes to go along with it. Of course, we have data from a lot of the articles. Ineffective employee recognition. Check your employee recognition program. Maybe that's off a little bit. And then today we're starting with bullying. Yes, I know, bullying. So, we did 4 last week. This week we're going to cover 4 as well. Before I move forward, I do definitely, I recently, yesterday, up to even yesterday, so recent it was, had a close friend of ours that passed away, and I just want to hold a moment of silence, not only for them, but for you, or, maybe you have someone that recently passed away, and you're going through that grief process right now. So I want to definitely stop and kind of give them that moment. So Thank you. Um, so let's get to our conversation. Before I get that, I have the spirit is leading me to say around this time last year, I had someone else in my life that I work with, very close to my executive assistant to be exact, that worked very close, and her and I quickly grew very close to each other, and she was my right hand. And around this same time, she had passed away, and it was sudden. It wasn't like sick and leading up to it or anything. It was a surprise. And what kept me um what kept me what got me back on track, because I talked about this, I did a whole thing on this, I think it's also in my lives as well, where I was crying and just sharing how uh, how emotional intelligence, because that's my baby, right? That's my tool. That's my go-to tool for life. Go-to tool for life, if that makes sense. Emotional intelligence has helped me. When we talk about emotional intelligence, we talk about this grand, sometimes we make it seem like it's this grand thing, but in reality, it's not, right? Emotional intelligence is simply you acknowledging, stopping and acknowledging how you are feeling in a given situation or about a given person. So, when I had that grief that I was going through last year, uh, I kept on remembering, because one, it was a shock, right? You didn't know what I didn't know what I didn't know, right? I didn't know what I was going, what was happening, what I was going through at the moment. But when I was going through it, I had to tap into my tool. I just said emotional intelligence, which is EQ, is my tool for life, because no matter what situation I found myself in whether that was in life, personally, professionally, I always took it back to EQ, because EQ is you using the tools that you have within you to be a better human being, right? To get out of your funk if you're having a bad day, like to think more positive, to not stay in that depressed, sad state for longer than what you need to, right? Some people, unfortunately, they stay so long in that negative, sad, depressed, side, that they stay so into it that some people never come out, right? Some people right now, you may know some of them that are taking medications for depression, right? For anxiety and all this stuff. And that stuff is real, right? That stuff is real. And going to a therapist and having, going to a doctor and seeing them for these types of illnesses that you may have is important. Uh, but I find also that at the end of the day, if it's something that happens suddenly, and this is not it's not a part of your DNA, this you've never had this before, like when I had this, that I was like sad a lot of days, right? And at the end, I had to kind of make a decision. Am I going to continue down this path, because it can go far, right? For the type of person that I am, it can go far. And I had to make the decision to want to be better and do better, and to come out of the funk, and to not focus on the loss of the person, but to more so focus on the life that the person left behind and all of the experiences that they shared with you. And that is what helped me to see it from a different perspective, right? So I said what I needed to say. Now we're going to get right into bullying. So we talked about these 12 challenges that you may be facing in the workplace that is stopping you from getting to the next level. And The number, we had four, and this is number five. Number five is bullying. Bullying, and I know we talk about kids all the time, bullying, but bullying happens in the workplace too. In case you guys did not know, it happens quite a bit in the workplace, unfortunately, as well. And what can we say about bullying? There is, before we even get there, the thing comes, the bullying can severely impact an employee's confidence, right? Work performance, their mental health, how leading to when it does that, it leads to them even deciding to leave the company or to start being more absent, right? It's not fun, right? And if you're out there and you're bullying, shame on you. Shame on you. There's four main reasons why people decide that they want to bully, right? And it comes down to um, power and control, right? Bullies often seek to assert themselves dominance over other people and control what they think and what they do, what they say, and where they go and all this stuff. This can stem from, of course, insecurity. That leads us to the second one. Insecurity and low self-esteem. Individuals with low self-esteem, they may often bully others so that they can boost their own self-worth, unfortunately, right? They might even target those that they perceive as threats. Maybe they are jealous of you in the workplace for one reason or another. So they start spreading gossip. They start saying things here or there that are not true, right? I've experienced this in a workplace. I had peers of mine that experienced this. So the quicker we address these types of scenarios that are happening in a workplace, challenges, the better we're able to get to the root cause of what it is and make the culture, the environment, the engagement much, much better and much more improved, right? And then there is the stress and pressure. High levels, sorry, high levels of stress or pressure, whether from personal family issues you got going on, or you have a work related project or something like that that is making that has a lot of demands and short timelines for you to do it, it can lead to you being aggressive, to being curt, to having a behavior like that was me. Like when I had a lot to do, my words it didn't get longer. It got much shorter, right? And when I was much shorter, I was like a little rude, right? Or should I say, it can come off rude what I'm saying if I didn't provide the person with enough information. Bullies may lash out, right? As coping mechanism, right? Instead of them taking a step back or even asking for more time to complete that project or speaking to that loved one that pissed them off or hurt their feelings, they lash out and they take the pressure and put that on you by taking it out on you, right? And that's also where emotional intelligence has come in countless times and has helped me, right? And it can help you as well. And then the last one we have here is lack of empathy. Some people may even may bully because they lack empathy. And what does that mean? What does that look like? They fail to understand the impact of their action on others. Like, you're coming into work, the receptionist told she saw you come into the door and she says good morning, or he says good morning. How are you, Mr. Tom, or how are you, Miss Sally? And you just walk by them. You're not on the phone, you're not talking to anyone. You look at them, you specifically walked in the door, looked at them, saw them call your name and say good morning, and you just kept going. Or you give them a response of what's so good about it, get a life, and you walk away. Like that kind of stuff, you're taking out your how you're feeling about whatever happened to you before you came into this job, you're taking that out on other people, and you don't understand how that impacts the person that you are interacting with, right? It hurts them. They take that to heart. I know countless people, countless employees, and I'm sure you can, you can even think of some yourself that you probably know, where you go into these scenarios and they say something, they treat you in this certain type of way when it wasn't even something that warranted. You didn't sleep with him or her. Why are they talking to you like this? Right? Why are they mistreating you? Right? This can be due to personality disorders or a lack of emotional intelligence. But we're gonna go with the personality disorder, right? No, we're gonna go with the lack of emotional intelligence, right? Not seeing how your actions, and I talk about this all the time. I think I even did like one of my weekly lives on it, where I talked about how emotions are contagious. Yes, they're contagious. They're contagious. So the energy, because matter, we're all energy, right? So whatever energy you are bringing with you, you are giving that off, right? So you see, when you walk around, when you go in groups and you go in meetings and you talk to people and you get, I just don't feel like she likes me. Why don't you feel that way? Because every time I look at her, she's like rolling her eyes. She doesn't even acknowledge my presence. I say hi to her. She ignores me. She talks to everybody else, but she just doesn't even acknowledge my presence, even though when I do go approach her. Like, that's not only energy. You saw something, you felt something, and your in your intuition picked up and said, I don't know what's going on here, but she just doesn't like me. Same thing when when you feel a certain way, you come into a meeting or you come into a room or you interact with someone, they're getting that energy of what your emotional, that's emotion are contagious, emotional contagion. It's the same thing where I think they gave the effect of it when they showed online somewhere where these one or two group of individuals was at an outdoor concert, and they started dancing, and there was nobody dancing, but they're playing music and they're dancing and they're just living their life. They're having a ball by themselves, and everybody else is just sitting down on the ground, just eating, talking, whatever. But these two, three individuals that started dancing, and then they started jumping around, acting like no specific moves, just living free and dancing as free as they wanted to be. And then slowly other people started doing the same thing, more people started doing the same thing, other people started doing the same thing. By the time you look, almost all of the entire concert area, all of these people were dancing and doing the same thing that these others were, because it was a they got they it was contagious, right? And energy, positive and negative, is contagious. So the question is, which one are you giving off? Dum dum dum. So that's enough about that one. The other one is lack of feedback. Lack of feedback. Before we move on to the bullying, I wanted to give you guys some ways. I forgot to, why didn't I give you guys some ways? So bullying can severely impact the employee's confidence. And the statistics for this was 19% of Americans have experienced bullying in a workplace, and another 19 have witnessed it, right? This is from the Workplace Bullying Institute. 19% of individuals have experienced it in the workplace, and others have witnessed it, right? So that's a lot. Even if it's 1%, that's still a lot, right? And then here's how we can combat. How can we get over or try to limit this bullying from happening in our workplace, right? Create a zero tolerance policy for bullying behavior. Provide training on diversity and inclusion. showing and educating people on different thoughts, different mindsets, different background, people from different backgrounds and cultures. So that way, when they see them, they're not like, ooh, let me not walk around by her, or let me not interact with her, or I don't know what kind of religion is that. The more you educate people, they know how to respond in these type of scenarios. Offer confidential channels of reporting incidents. Sometimes people don't want to just go straight to HR, right? That's a little bit too open for them, maybe, right? Maybe, provide an email or a box or something where they can just put put comments or put feedback of something that they saw, they experienced, that they can, so that way can get back to the higher ups and then they can do something about it, right? Ensure a swift and appropriate action is taken to address any instances of bullying in the workplace. If you don't do that, people are not going to trust you and you are not going to improve your workplace culture. Not even speaking about engagement, I'm talking about the workplace culture, right? So it's important. Create a zero tolerance policy for it. Provide training and diversity and inclusion, and ensure that there are proper open channels and confidential channels for people to be able to report these types of workplace instances that may happen, right? So there you go. You have 2 or 3 options there and what to do with that. The other one that we were going into is lack of feedback. Yes, yes. When managers provide little or no feedback, employees may feel undervalued and unsure about their performance, leading to disengagement and higher turnover. We are creating our own problems, people. Let's stop doing it. Let's stop doing it. Let's create more avenues for that dialogue. 69%. Let's see here. 69% of employees say they would work harder if they felt their efforts were being recognized. Are you only telling employees when they're messing up? If you are, let today be the last day that you did that. Let today be the last day that you did that. Don't do it again. Provide avenues to let employees know how they are doing in the workplace, when they royally mess up, when they could have done better, when they did an amazing job, and when they did okay job, like all of that. So that way, when the employee annual employee evaluation comes around, it's not a surprise. It's not a surprise. Stop surprising employees with these kinds of things. Please stop doing it. Give them the feedback weekly. If you're meeting with the team, you should be meeting with your team on a weekly, monthly, bi-weekly basis. So that way you can check in with them, see what they need, see how you're doing, see how you can support, right? Lack of feedback, right? Encourage, so this is what we can do about it. Encourage regular performance evaluations. I just said that. Provide constructive feedback in a timely manner. They messed up today, Friday. Okay, let's address it on Monday when they come in. Or they messed up during that week. Don't let that another week go by without you letting them know what they could have done better, or how amazing they did on that project that you gave them with little or no direction. That is so detailed, that is so specific, that is going to make them want to do it again. And not that people are walking around with a chip on their shoulder because they want compliments here or there. It's simple. It's a simple fact, right? Some people, you gotta, first of all, you gotta know your team. Know what motivates them. Maybe words of affirmation and maybe, encouragement and job well done is not gonna do it for me. Maybe what will do it for me is if you gave me opportunity to do, projects with other departments, so that way I can be more, so I can decide on what I want to do from a career standpoint. Maybe once or twice a month I get to go in other departments and work in those departments for an 8 hour, 2 days out of the month, and get that experience to see if I'm interested in that career path, right? Maybe that will do it for me. It's maybe, it's not going to always come down to a gift card or money, but you got to find what motivates your employee, and everybody is motivated by different things. And if you really, I know it always comes down to, it's a business, right? But if you really are invested in your business, you would be invested in your business. What does that mean? If you are really invested in your business, you can't be just invested in the bottom line. Before you get to the bottom line, you got to know that you have employees and customers that you need to satisfy, right? So that way the employees will stay and the customers will come back. If you don't have that, then you're not winning at life. You're winning in that business, right? And will it last? Right? Chances are it probably won't, right? There's a quote here by, where is it? Yeah. It's a quote here that says, in the absence of feedback, people will fill in the blanks with negativity. So if you don't tell them that they did a good job on whatever that particular thing is that they did a good job on, they're going to fill in that blank with something else, unfortunately. And what they fill it in with is not going to be something that's positive. They're going to fill it in with, you know what? It doesn't look like I'm going to be here very long, right? In the absence of feedback, people will fill in the blanks with negative. They will assume you don't care about them or you don't like them. If you like something, you will appreciate it. And how do you appreciate it? You take care of it. You give it water if it's a tree. You give it water. You give it some sunlight, right? You speak words that is going to make it live and encourage it. These are the kinds of things that you have to do with your employees, right? The people that are in your business. This is what you do with your customers. You give them discounts, right? You give them sales. You give them rebates. You give them you give them a way, so that way they'll feel like they're getting more with less, or vice versa, right? That's the same thing you have to do with your employees. And then very quickly, stress. The other one is stress. This is not something that happens overnight, you guys, okay? It is not something that happens overnight from 1 minute to the other. Stress is real, right? It's a real thing. How do you combat, and why does stress even matter? High levels of stress can increase the likelihood of mistakes, lower your overall productivity, and elevate the risk of burnout and health issues. Stress is no joke. There's the good kind of stress, and there's just the not so good kind of stress, right? And that's the one we're talking about. And it's okay to be a little stressed, but when the little stress leads to complete burnout, then, and it doesn't happen from one day to the other, right? It happens gradually, right? There's a statistics from the American Institute that says 83% of US workers suffer from work-related stress. Work-related stress, right? This is not home life, not personal life, not any other stress. Work-related stress. And stress causes around 1 million workers to miss work every year. 1 million. This is no joke. So get to it, get on it, get to working on your stress. And here are some strategies that you can use as it relates to stress. Promote in the workplace, at least, right? Promote work-life balance, work-life integration. Provide those avenues. Offer stress management workshops, right? Resources. Encourage breaks and time offs. Yes, I said it. Encourage breaks and time offs. Provide support for employees experiencing high level of stress. You gave them a lot of project to do in a very short period of time. Don't you think they would be stressed? Use your emotional intelligence to look around you, be observant of what your team, physical body, and their actions and their words and the emails that are going back and forth. Look and see what they're saying. That is going to give you high EQ into whether or not they are stressed, right? Um, the next thing here is stress. I love this quote so very much because it says that stress is not what happens to us, it is our response to what happens. And our response is something we can choose. The question is, what are you choosing to respond to? Right? If your body is giving you signs that you are stressed more than you're out of your comfort zone, then you have to do something about it, right? You have to do something about it. You cannot ignore that stress because it's only going to get worse, right? It's only going to get worse. And I just gave you some things that you can do. And the last point is lack of support. If I had to say, out of the 8 points that we covered thus far, this one is the one. Lack of support is huge in a lot of organization, why employees decide that they want to walk away. Employees who don't feel supported by their managers or colleagues are more likely to feel isolated. Don't you think that that guy pushing up that boulder or that big rock would feel a lot more encouraged, a lot more inspired to continue pushing that rock up the hill if he had two or three other people helping him push it? Especially if it's a project that one he's never done before. He's unsure about what to do. This is his, he's just started with the company. Why not offer him some type of help, right? And which can lead to decrease when employees don't feel like they are supported. Their job satisfaction goes down, right? It goes down, not up. Nope, not up, down. And their performance goes down with it, right? It doesn't, it's not one, you can't have one without the other. You can't have one without the other, not at all, right? These are some words, two statements from two employees in a group that I'm a part of as in HR. And the statement says, um, the lack of support and supervision is beginning to make me feel even more resentful of the low pay. So the pay is not great now, and I'm okay with that, the pay not being great. But on top of that, I don't have any support, or you can't make sure I have the tools that I need to do the job. No, this is too much. And I gotta figure this out my own. No, 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 no. No, that you're just adding pressure. Try to make people's jobs easier so they can work smart. The less the less that they have to figure out or do. I'm not saying do their jobs for them. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying give them the tools. Hey, you're going to need to talk to Sam in finance to complete this budget. Go get with him, set up a meeting. Not say go do a budget. What? Or I'm just a random a random example, but you get my point, right? And then the last one here says, your value doesn't decrease based on someone else's inability to see your worth. Yours truly, employee. So the first one said the lack of support is making me feel like, even more resentful with this low pay. So they ignored the fact that the pay was low, but now that they have no support on top of that, it's giving me vibes of maybe I should start looking for another job, right? And this other person replied to them and said, your value, they're saying just because your team, your company, your boss, your peers are not supporting you in doing your job in day to day, that doesn't add to anything has to do with your value. So they're saying essentially it doesn't decrease based on someone's inability to see your worth. You are worth everything, whether or not they give you the support, whether or not you get the love that you deserve, whether or not they treat you. You have to know for yourself that you're treating yourself better than anybody else can treat you. And that only happens if you make a decision, right? That's what it comes down to. So we are 12, we are 8 in with the different items that can prevent us from being the best version of ourselves in the workplace that may be holding us back in one way, shape, or form that we don't even know, right? That we don't even know. We talked about communication. We talked about inadequate training, which is poor training, conflict management, ineffective employee recognition, bullying, lack of feedback, stress, lack of support. And that's where we end it. And we're going to cover the rest probably not until next month, because next week is Juneteenth and we have a different conversation with 2 or 3 amazing women as it relates to that. So join me next week. Thank you so much for being here. We went like 3 or 4 minutes over, but I applaud you guys. Thank you guys for your continual support. Thank you guys for the amazing questions you guys been setting in. And what I'm going to leave you guys with is like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe or comment, right? Share this live with someone that you think that may need it, someone that is a new manager that, not sure how things go and their company don't know that they need the support. Share this with them. Let them know that the support is out there. They can join my live. I'm here every Wednesday for the most part, unless life happens. Every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and covering on all things, emotional intelligence, and how this HR leader can show you another way of living, not only in the workplace, but at home, and how, it has helped me, it has helped countless others, and it will continue to do so. And I'm sharing how it has boosted different areas in my life and how it can do the same for you. I have my new group coaching that is coming up July 31, 2024. So that's coming. So go to my website, dalereports.com, and you can see all the details about that. And I think we're going to end with that. As always, I always end with my little quote. You know that feeling that you get when everything in the world seems right? You don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to worry about anyone. Everybody's where they need to be. They're doing the things that they need to do. You don't have to worry about tomorrow. You feel safe. You feel filled with joy, with peace, and you have deep ease within. That, my friend, is called love. And I challenge you to give that to every single person you encounter today. Okay? So, thank you. Namaste.